Hi everybody, hope you're well. This video was requested by Masked Bandit and Barbb07, so thank you. This is going to be on the Affix team ratings, okay? So this is VIP teams, this is not for regular teams, only for VIPs. Now if you'd like to know more about VIP teams, you need to go to Community, you need to go to Game Help, then you need to go to Section 5 and then 5.4. And there's lots of information you can read there. Now we're going to focus on this bit here. I'm going to talk through this and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I mean. So the team affix, you can use an affix that is shared across all your teammates for all horses belonging to the breed that you collaborate on together, and those are only for purebreds. You can't do crossbreds in teams, not VIP teams. You could do them in regulars if you wanted. Now, rating an affix. So the first thing for the actual rating of a specific affix, team affixes are reviewed for rating on the first day of each month, so 1st of January, 1st of February, 1st of March, 1st of April, and so forth. And at least 20 horses wearing the affix that are born have to have been born in the previous month. So if you're being rated on the 1st of February, you need to have at least 20 new horses in January born, okay? Now they need to be of a higher genetic potential, but we'll get into that maybe a wee bit later. So the best horse wearing the affix has to have a higher genetic potential than the previous best horse from the same breed upon the first day of the previous month. Now what this means is the best genetic horse that you had, okay, you need to have a new and better one for the next, whenever it comes to the next time your affix is rated. So you need to have a better genetic potential horse than you did in your previous rating, okay? So if I'll actually show you a couple of different teams here. Now if I click on one here that I have here, now if I click over, you can see it says the rating's non-eligible. So if we hover over this, in order for this affix to be eligible, the rating for the next month, you still need 11 horses born during the current month. So that means we've bred 9 out of the 20. So we still have 11 to go. And we need to have a horse with a genetic potential over 1,786.6. Now this is based on whatever the best team is for that particular breed. So there will be another team out there who has a higher genetic potential. And we need to get to that level in order to be made eligible. Now if I look at another affix here, this is another team that I have, and I'm going to just go into best teams for a moment. Now don't be worrying too much about the fact that it's a unicorn team, that's not what we're worried about right now. That's an Argentinian Carolio, so we'll click on that. So you can see that this Argentinian Carolio team that I have is the top genetically, okay? So we click on this and we hold over non-eligible, it tells me that I have 15 unicorns to go. That means I've done 5. And the genetic potential is not coming up. The reason for this is because that team's top. So you're not trying to catch up. Okay, you're not trying to get ahead of anybody. Whereas with this other team, it's a case that there are better genetic potential vanners, and I would need to catch up to those in order to be eligible for a team rating. And we'll get into why that is a little bit later. Now, I've gone through teams that are eligible and aren't. Here's another one where it is eligible. If I hover over that, it doesn't tell me that I need breed anymore. It doesn't tell me anything about the genetic potential, and that means that both the genetic potential has been met and the horses, there's been over 20 horses bred. Now, the other thing, this team is top genetic potential for a Connemara pony, so I don't have anybody to chase up to catch up to, okay? So if we go back to the help here, so team affixes, this is where we're going to get into this now. So team affixes that meet these criteria are sorted based on the best genetic potential of the horses born under that affix. Stars are then given to the 3 best affixes for each breed. Now here's where we get into what might be a little bit confusing. So the best affix for that particular breed, okay, gets 3 stars. So if we go back to Artemis here, we can see that this is 3 stars. So this means this is the top team genetically for this breed, okay, for VIP. Now, if we go back to, I'm trying to think what would be a good example actually. So if we go to best teams, we'll go to horse teams, and I'm going to click on thoroughbreds to show you what I mean here. So if I click on thoroughbreds and we go down here, you can see that there's another team here that has 2, there's one that has 3. So this means that this obviously, very obviously, has the top genetic potential. This is the second best genetic potential, which is why they have 2 stars. Now, this team clearly has to get up a little bit higher before they will be, they will be eligible to be given the 1 star. But if they did, they would get the 1 star rating. Now, the team that gets the 3 star rating gets Morpheus arms on the 1st of every month. The one that's with the 2 stars, they get a Zeus lightning bolt. Okay, or sorry, Chronos timer. And then the 1 star team gets a Zeus lightning bolt. So, best team genetically, second best team genetically, third best team genetically, so long as they meet these earlier criterias, okay? So if you had the best team on the game and you didn't do the 20 horses that month, okay, doesn't matter, you're the top genetic team on the game, you wouldn't get your Morpheus arms, okay? Please note that you cannot receive more than 2 prizes per month from ratings. So even if you're part of 3 teams or more, you can't, that are awarded, you can't get that. So basically, I'm part of 10 teams, and several of those teams are 3-star rated teams. But because I am in, I can't get more than 2 MAs, okay? So it doesn't matter that I'm in 10. I'm not going to get 10 MAs. It doesn't happen. So, now we're getting down to the team rankings. So I know that this was kind of people were looking to know about team ranks, but I needed to explain the Affix rating before I went into the team ranking rating. Now, you can compare your team with others thanks to the various rankings. So the best genetic potential horses born with the team Affix, the number that were born, the number of rosettes worn by the team Affix during that month, the number of times these horses wearing the team Affix have been rated in the top 1,000 in the Grand National, or sorry, not the Grand National, the Grand Prix. And then team prestige was the result of the 4 previous rankings as well as Affix ratings. So these come into it, but so does the team. So does the Affix rating. Okay, so just to mention actually before we go on any further, unicorn teams are exactly the same. So you can have a unicorn breeding team now with VIP. And the Affix rating for unicorn works exactly the same as the horse affixes, except the unicorns are separated. So what I mean by that, if we go to the best teams, you can see that the unicorn teams are separated from the regular horses. And the reason is for this is because it would be unfair to evaluate unicorn breeding teams against high genetic potential horses. So they're separated for that reason, so that these genetic potential teams for unicorns can still get their MA. And they're not having to compete with other top teams. Because if we look at this, there's almost 1,600 in value for genetic potential. Now if we go to the horses and we go to Gypsy Banner here, you can see that that's almost 200 higher. So you wouldn't want basically to be competing against that, because you might not be able to keep it up at that level. Now for the horse teams, now this is where people I think get too bogged down with the best teams. Me personally, where you finish up on this particular ranking for the best teams doesn't actually have any effect, okay? Now what I mean by that is your individual ranking here, that means a lot, because that's whether you get your MA, you get your Chronos timer, or you get your Zeus lightning bolt. But with the best teams, you don't get any reward for being the top on this board, or the second on this board, or the third on this board, okay? So whenever people get too bogged down with this, it's like, don't really get worried about it, because it's not where you're getting rewarded for being there. I mean, yes, it's nice, don't get me wrong, it's nice to be ranked up here, but it's not the be all and end all. So now we can have a look here. This is what I was talking about before. This team's the best for Tennessee Walker, but because they haven't yet been rated from the previous month, because they're a new team, it's not displayed, okay? So this is a new team, I know that it's a new team, so they haven't got a rating yet because they weren't existing in the previous month, okay? So they don't have a rating yet, but they will do the previous, or the next month that it turns around. So we've got the prestige, the overall prestige, and this is, as it said in the breeder's help, okay, is, there it is, okay, is a result of these 4 previous rankings as well as the Affix rating, okay, that we talked about earlier. So you've got the genetic potential that comes into it, the horses born this month, the number of rosettes won this month, and horses in the Grand Prix total. So this will sort of be an average. The thing is, if you want to do well in the prestige, just the only thing I can say is you need to make sure your genetic potential is good. You need to make sure you have a lot of horses born the rosettes, you know, the Grand Prix. You need to get high in all those, okay? There's no real trick way, okay? Now, I have noticed sometimes this can be a wee bit glitchy. I have noticed that. I mean, sometimes at the start of the month you can have teams that have never done anything, you know, appearing first. And that's just the way sometimes it seems to go. It's happened once or twice. But usually it's reasonably stable throughout the month. It's just whenever it resets. So if I just click on one, for example, here. So this one is ranked 6th, okay? Now if we have a look, genetic potential is ranked 6th. Horses born this month's got 7th. 7th for number of rosettes, 1. 8th for Grand Prix. So you can sort of get a rough idea that it is sort of an average. It's coming in around there. And if we look at another one here, let's see. So click that one. So this one's coming in at 8th for prestige, 1st for genetic potential, 1st for the number of horses born this month, 17th for the number of rosettes won this month. So that's going to pull the average down. So even though it's done really well in the horses born this month and the genetic potential, that's going to pull it down overall in the overall prestige, because it's got 17th for number of rosettes won. It's got 6th for the Grand Prix. Okay, so you need to make sure that you're doing well in all areas in order to get your prestige up. So let's say we'll pick another one just to sort of, actually, hold on, we'll go with this one. So this one's ranked 64th. We've got 54 for the genetic potential, 55 for horses born this month, 62 for rosettes, and 80 for Grand Prix. So you can kind of see that it does kind of average out. So where you're placing in those 4 places tends to result in where you get in your prestige. Now, of course, there are times where you might look at it and you might say, well, you know, we're doing it right everywhere, but we're still not first. Well, it seems to be like that, and I think it's probably going to be a result of it. The team Affix is going to throw that little bit of difference into it. So at the moment, I don't know the exact formula for this. I haven't tried to work it out yet, because for me personally, whenever I look at the best across all breeds, the way I look at it is being in the very, very top of there doesn't really give me any benefit. It's what is important to me is this actual Affix rating, because that's where I get basically I get the reward for the MA and so forth. So it's a team Affix rating that I'm worried about. Anyway, guys, thank you to Masked Bandit and Barbb07. If you have any further questions, you know, that's fine. Just leave them in the comments. And I hope you have a lovely day. Bye.